Greetings everyone, Pete Pardo here from Sea of Tranquility. Welcome to another edition of Ranking the Albums. Today we're going to take a look at the studio catalog of a band that has probably been asked for more than any other in the history of us doing these Ranking the Albums shows. Of course, I'm talking about Tool, the band that burst on the scene in the early 90s. Okay, were they one of those alternative metal bands? Were they, kind of post-grunge? What were they? They were Tool. That's all you really need to know. Probably one of the darkest, most mysterious acts to come out of that era. They're still kind of killing it today. It's like they're almost as famous for their music as they are for the long lapses between album releases, right? So we've got a total of 5 full-length studios. I'm going to include the original EP in this list, so we got 6 all together here. We're going all the way back to 1992, so we're going to take a look at my rankings here. One of the things that you start to realize when you're trying to rank a catalog like this is a band that really has no weak albums. They're all actually really good. They all sound and feel like Tool, but they're all different. Okay, so what's kind of low on my list doesn't mean I don't like it quite a bit, because I do. I think there's a couple that I prefer a little more than others, but I think they all have a lot to offer. They're all really dense and filled to the capacity with all sorts of exotic and heavy music, and just a very, very cool band. So let's get started here. Number 6, I'm going to go all the way back to their EP from 1992, Opiate. Heavy. Probably their, I would say, could arguably say it's their heaviest album, either this or Undertow. Definitely on the heavy meter, kind of rank up there quite a bit. But this is more, this is Tool as a metal band. It's put some great songs on here. Part of Me is just an excellent, excellent track. Cold and Ugly, they got a couple live tracks on here. Cold and Ugly, really heavy. Great riffs. Sweat, also a good song. You got Hush. But here, the kind of like the epic nature of their music, the progressive nature of their music, not really coming out yet. More shorter tracks here, more to the point, more riff-based. No less cool to listen to, though. So that's going to come in at number 6 for me. All right, so coming in at number 5, we're going to go to an album that I really like a lot. But, you got to rank these somehow, and I think I prefer some of the other ones a little bit better. I'm talking about 10,000 Days, okay? This one's coming from 2006. The really kind of bizarro packaging here. All right. Yeah. Really interesting. Very cool album. This is probably, arguably, their most kind of proggy album. 75 minutes of music. As they have become famous for, their albums are really long and filled with like longish tracks and a lot of like short little musical interludes. That's kind of been like a characteristic of Tool's music. And, I think that's what we can expect from them, going forward, because they've been doing it for so long. Some of the great lengthy tracks on here. The title track is very, very cool. You got Wings for Marie, okay, which leads into 10,000 Days. Vicarious is very cool. Rosetta Stone is probably one of the songs that people kind of latch onto quite a bit. Right Into, very cool song. Intention. Just a very, if you're into kind of like that stop-start, rhythmic, weaving kind of intensity that this band brings, Danny Carey's tribal drums, okay? You got Adam Jones's looping guitars, right? The mysterious vocals of Maynard James Keenan, and of course Justin Chancellor's acrobatic bass. I think, and this, I wouldn't say this is one of their heavier albums. To me, it's more of like a textured type of thing. But like I said, no less of a joy to listen to, as most of their catalog is, right? So that's going to come in at number 5. Coming in at number 4, I'm going to go with the most recent one, Fear Inoculum. This album, God, what was it, like 13 years since their last one? Is that what we're... Yeah, 13 years. So 10,000 Days was the 2006. The next thing to come out is 2019. Okay, this came out late summer last year. Not an album to get into on first listen by any means. And again, you got a lot of really lengthy tracks here, and then a lot of those little interlude type things. Long album. Not really. They only released like a certain amount, limited edition of these, kind of CD sets. Most people who bought this bought the digital version. Okay, one of our viewers was kind enough to send this to me. I'm very thankful. It's got the whole screen thing going on. I don't know if you can see that. Pretty neat. Leave it up to Tool to do something like that. But some very cool stuff on here. Again, one of those more kind of like meditative, I don't know. And you see the movement I'm making? That's kind of like how you describe their music. And, all these kind of like weaving rhythms and riffs and things like that. Title track is great. Invincible, another very cool tune. Descending, okay? Tempest, a lot of cool stuff on here. Not an album. This is not like an anthemic album you kind of play in the car and cruise around to. This is more like kind of like midnight, kind of chill out music for me. It's heavy in spots, not heavy overall. Very progressive. I dig it though. Really, really enjoying that album since it came out. All right, so coming in at number 3 is, sometimes you kind of hold really strong feelings for a record because of their impact when they were first released. And I remember in 1993 when Undertow came out, I was pretty heavily into this. And by 93, I had kind of like tired already of, much of that, the kind of like the grunge scene. So like Nirvana and Pearl Jam, bands like that. I still liked Soundgarden and Alice in Chains, but Tool kind of came out and they were kind of edgy and alternative in a way, but they were a little bit different. And this album, I remember, the video, for Sober, and just how heavy it was and how different sounding it was. And I just kind of was all over this. And I still can listen to this album. It's a pretty heavy album. And I think there's just like a darkness to that album, this album, that I think is really, really appealing. And some great songs on here. Bottom, great song. Got good choruses on this album. Maynard's vocals are very, very chilling on this album. A lot of anger and angst. Prison Sex, great song. Swamp Song, okay, Flood. All sorts of good stuff on here. Intolerance. Top to bottom. But again, another long album, like, 70 minutes or thereabouts. So these guys know how to kind of bring it and give you lots of content. They're not jipping you out with a 40-minute album. No sirree, Bob. Right, so that's coming at number 3. Number 2, I'm going to go with 2001's Lateralis. Okay, okay. If it wasn't for my number 1, this would be my number 1. This is probably, many people call this the album that Tool released once they got the King Crimson bug. All right, this is kind of like, this is progressive, big time. And this is really where Tool really started to kind of explore all the kind of intricacies that they could do with their growing musicianship. A lot of good songs on here. The Grudge. Okay, you got Schism. Excellent riffs in that song. Really, really good. Parabola. Right? The title track. Reflection. So many good songs on here. Longer tunes, shorter tunes. Okay. A couple of instrumentals. Those great drums from Danny Carey. And no, I don't think I look like Danny Carey. I've had so many people say that, but whatever. What do I know? But yeah, just a really, really cool album that I think needs to be in any metal fans or prog metal fans collection. Quite good. Of course, my number 1, everybody knows what it's going to be. I think, unanimously, most folks look at the Enema album from 1996 as their kind of crowning achievement, and it's hard not to. And again, this is one of those albums that for me has a lot of those little kind of filler pieces which kind of bridge all the more lengthy epic tracks. And sometimes when I'm thinking about Tool and listening to their music, it's like, I almost wish they would just cut out the 10-15 minutes of the little instrumentally bits and little noodlings and just keep it compact with the songs we really want to hear. And while I think that there might be a couple of these other albums, like Lateralis, especially maybe Undertow, that are a little more top to bottom a little stronger, perhaps. But the songs on here, the main tracks on here are just so freaking good that it's almost impossible to not put this at number one. You know, like Eulogy. 46 and 2 just absolutely crushes. I mean, those like churning riffs is some of the best things you'll ever hear. Okay? Hooker with a Penis. Great angry lyrics. Okay? Bludgeoning song. Jimmy. Push It. Okay? The title track. And then the psychedelic, progressive, metallic third eye to kind of close it all off. Just a stunning album with just fantastic production. That's the one thing too. I mean, all these albums just sound really, or CDs, albums, whatever you want to call them, sound really, really great. And they're just so powerful and they're so mysterious. Like I said, there's no other band on the planet like these guys. I've never seen them live. I just love the kind of always love that cover. Never seen them live, but I've heard they're an experience. So I would like to do that one of these days. I know it's always hard to get a Tool ticket because they only tour once a decade, it seems, and they don't play a ton of shows. So when they go out on tour, you're going to pay big bucks, and you better plan out trying to get that ticket pretty carefully. So there you have it. All right. So coming in at number 1, Enema. Coming in at number 2, Lateralis. Coming in at number 3, Undertow. Coming in at number 4, Fear, Inoculum. Coming in at number 5, 10,000 Days. And coming in at number 6, we're going to go with Opiate. Not a stinker in the bunch. All exemplary stuff. Just a fascinating, unique band. There's nobody else like them. And whether you love them or hate them, you got to give them credit for just creating some of the most unique heavy metal music of the last close to 30 years now. So there you have it. List your ranking of the Tool catalog in the comments below. A lot of 6 great albums, lots of great songs, a lot of great musicianship. Pretty stunning stuff, actually. So this is on the web at www.seatranquility.org. We're on Facebook, we're on Twitter. Of course, we're here on YouTube all the damn time. Coming up this weekend, we've got tomorrow morning, Jack Toledano and I are going to be ranking the studio catalog of German power metal veterans Primal Fear. We're also going to be ranking the catalog of the U.S. pop, rock, country rock, southern rock, whatever you want to call them, legends from California, the Eagles. So that's coming up tomorrow as well, so you don't want to miss that. So stay tuned for all that stuff, and we'll see you guys later on. Take care. Bye-bye.